As the couple turned to leave, another twist unfolded. The employee who had been recording stepped forward and announced, "I sent the video to corporate. This isn't the first time he's done something like this." The crowd murmured again, this time in anger directed at the owner. Outside, the couple took a deep breath, still processing what had just happened. They looked at each other, grateful for the support of strangers who had stood up for what was right. It wasn't the outcome the store owner had expected, but it was the one he deserved. As the couple walked out of the store, they felt a mix of emotions: relief, anger, and gratitude. What started as an ordinary shopping trip had turned into a painful experience they wouldn't soon forget. But the support from strangers reminded them that even in moments of injustice, there are people willing to stand up for what's right. Inside the store, the owner was left to face the consequences of his actions. Corporate would undoubtedly review the incident, and with video evidence circulating, change felt inevitable. Customers who had witnessed the scene left with a renewed sense of awareness about the power of assumptions and how they can harm others. The couple, though shaken, knew this moment had revealed something bigger. They didn't just walk away as victims, they walked away empowered, determined to share their story and shine a light on the importance of accountability and standing together against prejudice. The officer froze, his hands still hovering over his taser. "What do you mean she's with you?" he demanded, his voice laced with suspicion. The man glanced at the girl, then turned back to the officer. "She's a key witness in an ongoing case. If you touch her, you'll be interfering with a federal investigation." Gasps rippled through the crowd as the girl's eyes widened in shock. It was clear she hadn't expected this man to show up, or to reveal such critical information. The officer's face twisted in confusion, his confidence visibly shaken. "A witness? What kind of case?" he asked, but the man cut him off. "That's classified," the man said sharply. "Now step back." The officer hesitated, but the weight of the situation seemed to sink in. The crowd was buzzing with whispers, speculating about what the girl might know. What kind of case was big enough to put her life in danger? And why hadn't she said anything before? As the man turned to the girl, he leaned in close and whispered something no one else could hear. Her expression shifted from fear to determination, and she clutched her backpack even tighter. The crowd watched, holding their breath, as the tension reached a boiling point. Whatever was happening, it was bigger than anyone could have imagined, and the truth was about to explode. The man in the suit motioned for the girl to follow him, but before she could move, the officer stepped in front of them, his hands still on his taser. "I'm not letting her go until I know what's in that bag," he said, his voice sharp. The crowd erupted in anger, their shouts growing louder as they demanded justice and answers. The girl's hands trembled, but she slowly unzipped her backpack, her movements deliberate and calm. The officer leaned forward, eyes narrowing as she pulled out a small stack of papers. The crowd strained to see as the man in the suit quickly took the documents from her hands, flipping through them with a look of relief. "This," he said, turning to the officer, "is evidence of corruption that goes all the way up your department. She risked everything to get it to us." The crowd gasped, their disbelief turning into murmurs of shock and realization. The girl's quiet strength suddenly made sense. She had been carrying the truth the whole time. The officer, visibly shaken, took a step back. "You're lying," he stammered, but his confidence was crumbling. Just then, the young man recording shouted, "I've got this all on video." The officer's face turned pale as more people began raising their phones, capturing every word. He turned to leave, but the man in the suit stopped him. "Not so fast," he said. "You're not walking away from this." As officers from another precinct arrived to take over, the girl looked around at the crowd. For the first time, her expression softened, a quiet smile breaking through her fear. The man in the suit placed a protective hand on her shoulder and whispered, "You just changed everything." But as they turned to leave, the girl looked back one last time, her voice steady. "This isn't over yet," she said, leaving the crowd stunned. Little did they know, her bravery had only scratched the surface of a much larger fight. The crowd began to disperse, but the moment lingered in their hearts and minds. The girl, now surrounded by supportive strangers and the man in the suit, walked away from the chaos with a new sense of purpose. Her courage had not only exposed corruption, but also reminded everyone there of the power of standing up for what's right. The young man who had been recording posted the footage online that evening, and within hours it went viral. People from all over the world rallied behind the girl, calling her a hero. The officer was placed under investigation, and the documents she risked everything to protect began to unravel a web of misconduct that would change the system for the better. As the girl sat in a quiet room later that night, she looked at her now empty backpack and smiled. She had been afraid, but she had done the right thing, and the world was finally listening.